Woke up this morning, coffee in hand, flipped on the screen, my favorite man. Crafty's on the TV, chipping that stone with Obsidian and Flint, he's in the zone. He's shaping the future with a hit and a crack, building the legends, ain't no turning back. With every sharp edge, he's teaching the way of the ancients who thrived back in the day. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Wielding the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. Underneath those layers of dust and grit finds the magic every little bit. A sculptor of stories buried in the ground, each piece he uncovers wisdom abound. With every collision, the sparks start to fly. As the old world awakens, we question why. He's digging deeper where the shadows play, reviving old crafts that could fade away. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Wielding the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. And in this life, we're all just searching for our place in the world, a way to keep working. With the flick of his wrist, he brings forth the light. In every gray morning, he makes it feel right. So gather around, let the stories unfold. Crafty's our guide through the young and the old. With the sun rising high and the day moving on, Crafty carves dreams till the light is all gone. He's shaping the future one chip at a time. With every creation, he's keeping the rhyme. From the heartland of Texas to the mountains of green, the legacy lives on through the stonework unseen. With every perspective, he's showing the way. Crafty keeps going, come whatever may. Crafty on the TV, talking that smack, stone carving dreams, never looking back. From Texas to Vermont, Crafty studies us, chiseling the past, building futures for us. Wielding the hammer, he's steady and strong, crafting a world where we all belong. So here's to the mornings with coffee in hand and Crafty on the screen, the true heart of the land. With a hit and a crack, he's paving the way through stone and through story. He inspires the day.
Hello, hello. It's that time again. I'm going to have to double glove tonight because you know what's coming. All Obsidian, every day, all the time. Yeah, we have a wonderful demonstration of snap in half technology. In case you missed it, it was last night. I don't know if Danny Collins saw the results, but I'll post it, and maybe I'll post it in his community. How's that? Ha. Okay, so who do we have? Who was first? Jorge, you were first? Yeah, JV. First one, Mr. Jim, Alan Cole, Dockenstein, Sam Folks, Stoneface, Tommy Taylor, Graylin Landry, Chris Lithick. Hey, Scott Goldsberry is here. Attorney Bailey. Saw the video of your garden plans. Good stuff. Thank you, thank you. It's my garden and my backyard and my video studio and everything else. Well, it's going to be anyway. I was clearing some of that out today. And I was also planting some more of that silky dogwood. But I need to get more viburnum. Yeah, that's what I'm going to plant mostly. But I had some silky dogwood sitting there trying to grow roots. And they weren't doing well, so I just stuck them in the ground. Yeah. Who else is here? Dawkinstein. Red Lemur. Let's see, last show was fun. Cool. Mac Bales, did I already say your name? No. Mac Bales is here. Jeff Jin, hey, good evening. Jeremy's here. Let's see who else. Mike Mason's here. Chris Lithic, Stoneface, Lakesguard, Mike Mason, Duncanstein. Ian Hermson, hello, hello. Who else? My wife cussed out loud when I snapped in half last night. Uh-oh. Bobber, 1969-1. Let's see. Drew's Concrete is here. Hey, Drew. Awesome. Long time no see. Dangman, 1310. Hello, everybody. Chris Lithic. Oh, Pat, we got to talk about the last stream. Okay, start talking. Stoneface says, my corn is as tall as me now. Awesome. Fantastic. Wonderful and tremendous. Okay, so, yeah. Well, let's start talking about last night's stream. It's called Snap and Half Technologies. What do you want to know? Chris Lithic says, that was so intense we wanted to see you use abo tools? No way. It would have snapped in half sooner. Yeah. With natural tools, the snap in half technology happens much faster. Yes. How do I know? I don't know. Just try it and see. Don't take my word for it. Never take my word for it. Always test it yourself and you'll see. Alright, so I just spent like 45 minutes cleaning up and vacuuming in here. Oh yes. And there was a big old clog in my vacuum. Yeah. All these flakes had built up. From one of the previous vacuumings. I didn't even know. So I'm sitting here vacuuming the Obsidian flakes and I'm going, hey, what's going on? What's up? I thought this little vacuum was good. It was a couple days ago. All right. So, what are we going to do? Luckenstein says he had to see it was on the morning news. Chris Lithic, nah, I'll let you have it. Man, you locked in for that one, let me tell you. My reality switched when it snapped. Yeah, well, let's see if I can snap another one. So I can switch your reality back. No? It don't work that way? No, how do I know it don't work that way? But today is supposed to be slab day. So we're going to pretend these are slabs. Yeah. I want to see if this actually is more controllable in a smaller state. Or if it's going to snap in half again or be not cooperative. It still has crackages in it. Right there still exists a crack from the original stone. Or something like that. Because that's just weird right there. As an example. It's still pretty thick too. It's still pretty thick too? Yeah. Pretty thick too. Alright, let's see. Let's get out a smaller bopper than last time. Come on. I got a new tool bag, but I don't know if it's going to work. I've tried many tool bags. This is the latest attempt to stash my tools in a bag instead of in a bin. I usually just end up putting everything in a bin. And then I had to put my tools up on the shelves. But I want my shelves for my projects. I don't want my tools up there. Anyways, yeah, I always end up putting my tools on the floor too. All right, let me move the fan away from my face because I don't want those obsidian flakes flying toward me. Okay, all right. I do like this tool bag, but it might be more hassle than it's worth. See now, what in the wide world of Flintknapping is going on? It cracked at that crackage. Remember I was saying that that's got a weird crack right there? That's where it broke. And I just took a little bitty flake and that's it. So yeah, it's extremely snap and halfish. But now we can make 3 things. It's extremely delicate. No wonder Danny sent this one to me. And no wonder it was spalled in a very different way than normal. Probably the only way they can get a big piece. It looked like they had drilled some holes and then added some wedges to wedge it out of the big boulder or whatever it was in. Yeah. This stuff is very, very snappish. Well, at least we know that if it doesn't snap, it is solid. See, that's a part of the original crack right there. Yeah. So it can't have any weaknesses while we're napping it. Or it'll snap at the weakness. Who thinks that obsidian is all the same? Or as long as you know the name of the obsidian, you know its properties. Who thinks that? As long as they know the name, then they know how it's going to nap. Anybody? Anybody? Nobody? Yeah, you know that it, just because you know the name of it, like let's say I knew the name of this type of obsidian. Does that mean that I know its properties and if it's going to snap in half or not? No, it doesn't. Some of this stuff might be good that comes from the same area. Called the same thing, but it's not a snap and halfish. That is possible. Man, sometimes you only need to tap it just a little bit. And like that one right there, sometimes you need to tap it hard. That was some, yeah. Sometimes it wants to be tough. And sometimes you can take a flake off just by accidentally touching it. Okay. Very, very challenging. Sometimes it'll scoop a lot. Yep. You see what I'm doing? Prairie Ghost Ken says, Patrick, napping in the dead of night. Take that broken slab and learn to fly. Yeah. Yeah. What he said. Someone mentioned something about making sunglasses out of this stuff. I think that if you get a nice flat piece, you may be able to look at the sun with something like this. Because it has that correct amount of tint. I should try it, right? I should go tomorrow and look at the sun. See if I can fry my eyeballs out. But I won't because I have the special obsidian. And it's that red is because of that, right? That sign. If I use this for the sun, I should be able to see the sun. It's tinted. Yeah. Okay, sorry about the camera. Everything is right next to each other, so everything is practically touching each other in the shop. It's so small. All right, so let's see what we can do. We can drop it on our other slabs. That's what we can do. Drop objects on the snap and halfish stuff. Yeah. So how do you support something like this? I don't worry too much about that. Because if it's going to snap in half, I'd rather snap early instead of spending hours on it and then all of a sudden snap at the end. And then you say, should have known better, I should have not even bothered. If it's going to snap, let's snap early, okay? I don't want to be spending all night and all of a sudden snap at the end. It's not my fault because it's so snappish. The flakes are flying again. So how do you, in all seriousness, how do you thin something like this? With much tediousness and much perfection. The initial conditions had to be as close to perfect as possible. Which means it's a pain to nap the stuff. Because the initial conditions can never be really perfect. Especially something that snaps in half. But, you know, because it can surprise you. All the lessons you've learned in life about napping, then you get something that's unpredictable. It makes you feel like you wasted your whole life on something that didn't amount to anything because it's not working like it's supposed to. How do I know? I don't know. So yeah, I'm going to spend the whole night tapping at it slowly. And carefully. But still opportunistically. And we'll see what happens. This is similar to trying to nap gold sheen obsidian. Except gold sheen, I don't remember it being this bad. Gold sheen snaps in half easy also. Oh yes. How do I know? Because I just napped a bunch of it. At the towel snapping. It's not as bad as this though. That gold sheen wasn't scooping out like this and it wasn't acting all stupid. How does stone act stupid? Well, you start to get used to it and then all of a sudden it does something weird. Yeah, that's what I call stupid. You start to get used to it and then... No, just when you think you got used to it, it does something stupid. Yeah, like that. See? Why does it scoop out and terminate? Oh, yeah, I know why. It doesn't terminate properly because it snaps easy. The endings of the flake or the terminations are hardest to predict because you don't know exactly what the properties of the material are. You get kind of used to it, right? But it snaps at the end and doesn't continue because it's very brittle. It doesn't want to continue. Even though it's got plenty of convexity, plenty of mass, plenty of everything, plenty of grinding down. I followed through with the strike. It's a little bopper. Everything, all the initial conditions are good, but it still snapped before it reached an ending that should have been more predictable. Let's see if that did something. See, it doesn't want to continue with the hard stuff. As soon as it hits a place where it needs to act good, it doesn't. That was supposed to carry on more. Carry further because it's obsidian. Yeah. I have napped lots of obsidian, so I know. I'm going to have to switch to indirect percussion already because this is not responding to the direct percussion. And I'm afraid that if I end up with a big old island in the middle, I'm going to get stuck. And then I'll have to write on here, island technology. You didn't know that mistakes were technologies? Well, you'd think that overshots are technologies, and they are mistakes. So why not Snap and Half technologies. Why not island or land bridge technologies? Or smashing on the edge technology? Yeah. Why not? Charles Bennett is here. Father Time is here. Who else did I miss? Faith and Sawdust is here. Perry Goes Ken. Who else? Who else is... You guys are talking up a storm. Look at that. Let's see. Snow goggles. Little ears are the ones you want for every jewelry. What? Let's see. Feel like you're about to show us something here, Mr. Rock Wizard. Go ahead, show us how to do it. Who said that? Who said that? Chris, you said that? Faith and Soda says, yeah, I've seen a couple that were made out of a boat, but it's, what? I don't know. Out of bone? Stone as a pendant. Yeah, corn. Okay. Obsidian lenses are actually a thing in Mesoamerica. Also obsidian mirrors. Yep. Hey, my Flintknapping journey is here. Miguel. Hey. Long time no see. Miguel Bina. Let's see. Live to Survive says, I like cake. Is that something you want to admit online? Let's see. Yeah, it's fascinating how important obsidian was to Mesoamerican culture. Apparently, the obsidian mirrors or round slabs were used for divination or other realms. Or another realm. Okay, cool stuff. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna switch over to indirect percussion sooner than I thought, because at least I can be more accurate and see what's going on with this. See if accuracy actually matters. Oh yeah. It likes accuracy. Look at that. It didn't break that time. It went the full distance. Well, well, well. Imagine that. Indirect percussion is awesome. Who would have thunk it? Let's see. Before I speak too soon. No, it does. It's traveling the whole way now. Okay, so there we go. Maybe I should just get a big indirect percussion set, or make a big indirect percussion set. That way, I never have to use the boppers again. Yeah. Because the boppers are a mixed bag. You never know what you're going to get with the boppers. Yeah, all it is a matter of scale. I just need to scale up the indirect percussion stuff. My indirect percussion stuff is made mainly for, points that are 4 inches or less. I still try to knap bigger pieces than that, of course, but that's what my set is made for. The smaller types. I can scale it upward so I can generate flakes like this on bigger pieces. Well, let's see. That one took a bite out of the crime. Not good. Remember the crime dog on TV? Way back when it was important to say that crime was bad. McGruff, the crime dog, he would say, take a bite out of crime. Well, whenever I see a bite on the edge of a workpiece, Sometimes that comes up in my memory because I'm that old. Yeah. It's still, it's doing the same things. It doesn't want to continue. And there's no excuse because I've napped a bunch of Obsidian and most Obsidian doesn't do that. Yeah, it does that. Now that one almost didn't do it. Yeah, that one almost didn't do it. You can tell it was in two pieces. Alright. We're going to have to make this narrow. Yep. Surprise, surprise. It is reluctant to travel. These flakes don't want to travel. They are reluctant to travel, so we're going to make it easier for them to travel. Okay? Let's see if we can get something. Oh yeah, and I had glass dust in my sinuses. I could tell. You can tell when you sniff like that and you spit it out, but there's still a little bit of grit in your mouth. Yep, that's it. Well, it can be thinned, okay? So it can be thinned. We know that much. We just don't know if it'll stay together. It might snap in half. Again. It does accept a hard hit on the edge. Yes, yes. So we're in luck. As long as it keeps doing that. As long as I can hit hard on the edge, I can force it into being thinner. Yeah. If I'm not able to hit hard on the edge, if it smashes a lot or something weird happens, like if it takes a bite out of crime or something like that, then it's going to be hard to thin it down. Or if the flakes don't want to do it, like if they don't want to do it, yeah, it's going to be challenging. I got to adjust the angle by 1/2 degree, and it works a little bit better. In which direction? Less inward force by 1/2 or maybe even 1/3 or 0.32 of a degree. It's not something your conscious mind is aware of. You just have a feel for it. All these strikes look the same because when there's such a small variation in angles, it's going to look the same. But there's slight variations in the angles. Now there you go. Can we see? I'm gonna look through this at the sun tomorrow. So let me put this aside. Yeah, that's a thin one. And it's flat. Yes. Alright, so I have hopes for this, actually. I am hopeful. A little bit hopeful. I don't expect too much, but I am hopeful. Might have to use a softer or more mild abrader. It may be angry at me for using that abrader. That might be it too. This is a little bit milder. This is the Harbor Freight grinding wheels. They're so delicate, or they're so gentle. Let's see, get a spot that's not all crunchy. on the tip of the flaker. And hit really, really hard. See, again, it split in the middle, but it did continue. See that? It wanted to stop right there, but I pushed it hard enough that it continued. I can do that with follow through. If I was up on my leg like this, trying to do that follow through, it wouldn't have done it and it would have stopped. How do I know? I don't know. I used to nap on my leg like everybody else. Do you know the story? Oh, dude, don't tell a story. Don't tell a story that you lost 2 years because you listen to everyone on the internet. Because you misinterpreted because you're stupid. Yeah, well, whatever the case is, I lost 2 years because I listened to people on the internet. That's my story. Short version. All right, let's see if we can do this. See if we can do this without, doing the mama had a baby and her head popped off. Let's not do that. Because down here you can say, mama had a baby and her head popped off. That sometimes happens. People don't know what I'm talking about because you need to be an old timer. But if the head's gonna pop off right now, might as well do it now. Because there's no way that I'm gonna be happy about it happening at the end of the process. Oh, gee, I'm glad it happened at the end. I didn't know it was going to snap in half, but I'm glad it happened after I spent 2 hours on it. It's going to snap in half, but it's not my fault. But, it's cool because I spent a lot of time on it, and that's cool that it happened way later than way earlier. Yeah, that's why I like it. It seems that some people are like that. Then they get all upset. They go, no, I was just kidding. Yeah. I'd rather it snap right now, believe me. So I will work the base in ways that might snap it. But it ended up not being that delicate. I did hit the base and nothing happened to the tip, so there is hope. Yep, see, it's getting thinner. We'll see. We're pushing the limits, though. I have a feeling we're pushing the limit more than usual. We usually push the limits on this channel, both in the stone and everybody's patience, but we're going to go a little bit extra. Yeah. Yikes. It wants to be tough sometimes. Well, to be fair, that's a crushed spot, so it usually ends up trying to be tough at crushed areas. See, it's just all crushy and stuff. I don't know. It better not get all crushy when we try to sharpen it. I tried pressure flaking it last night and it seemed fine. It's difficult to keep the surface smooth. You got to be very strategic with the flakes and make sure you plan them, each and every flake at the end, so it cosmetically looks good. Yeah. Yeah, like that. It still has issues with terminations, but I can kind of live with that. Yeah, they're not feathery, but at least they're traveling. At least that much. So there's hope for it. No. All right, so that was the first stage of thinning. Now comes the hardest part of flint knapping. You got to thin it even more. We don't have to, but I want to see the potential, and you want to see the potential also. Okay, I could stop right here and say, it's good. Let's just sharpen it, make it a little bit more pretty, and leave it thick like that in the middle. But we're not going to. And don't be surprised if it breaks, because we're going to be right on the edge of breaking it. You should know that by now after watching this channel for all these years. If I break something, it's because I'm right on the edge of breaking it always. It should not come as a surprise at all. What is surprising, what should be surprising, is if I actually finish it after taking lots of risks. That is what is supposed to be surprising. Yeah, I take a lot of risks. All right. Mama had a baby and the head didn't pop off. I'm going to remember to use the more gentle abrader. Let's put this one away so I don't grab it instinctively. I think the more gentle abrader is going to help because it puts less incipient cracks in the edge. We lose energy and stuff if there's more incipient cracks and stuff. And losing energy on the strikes is a big no-no. Because you can't get flakes like that. Any energy loss and it peters out and it doesn't go very far. We want it to travel. Yeah. I always get questions, how do I make long flakes? Come on, you're holding out on this, dude, because I see them all the time. Yeah, I've been doing this a while. I didn't get really long flakes in the beginning. If you're new and you don't know why you're getting short flakes, it's because you're new. Duh. And I'm not making fun of you. You have to know that. You have to realize that when you're new, you're supposed to get short flakes. It's supposed to be that way. The long flakes are not like, making cake frosting. You just add the ingredients and then you spread it on the cake. Easy. It's not like cupcake sprinkles where you just go buy the sprinkles and then sprinkle them on. Getting long flakes, it doesn't have a recipe. It doesn't have instructions. You can't teach it. It has to be developed over time. And then my angles are not your angles. Your angle is probably a little bit different than mine. There's various reasons why the angles vary slightly. Some of it has to do with actual human physical anatomy. All of our anatomies are different. Slightly different in some cases. Majorly different in other cases. Yeah. So there's various things. That's why there's no recipes for this stuff. And if you got a book that claims do this and do that and you'll be successful, it works for some people, but not for everybody. And you're probably the one that it doesn't work for, like me. Okay, all right. See, some people can use a bopper effectively on this stuff in the hardest stage of Flintknapping. This is the hardest stage, thinning down a thin piece. Some people pick this up easily, relatively easily. Some people take years. Anyways, I don't know where I was going with that, but yikes, I see a crack. Look at that. It didn't do it right. See, it's misbehaving. See that crack right there? It's misbehaving. It wanted to split the whole thing. Dang. Okay. It didn't split it by luck. Let's try to get that out. I'm lucky it didn't split it. Okay, so it's only as deep as that flake. Thank goodness. That was a scary crack. That was just the flake had cracked and it didn't detach fully. Okay. I thought the blade itself had cracked. Alright, that makes me feel better, but it's not good in that spot. It still looks like it may have an issue. See that? It may have an issue down in there. So we need to tap it lightly and see what's going on with it. Is there a crack there? I still can't tell if I got it out, or if there's still an issue with that. We're gonna tap until it goes away. Try not to take too much of the edge off because it messes with the symmetry. Right now, I took some of the edge off. Yes, I'll have to take this back. But if it goes in too far, then we got to remove too much of the edge too soon. Remember, everything has to be strategical. Can't do too much at once too soon. Need to keep our options open and keeping it as wide as possible, even though it does need to be more narrow. Keeping it as wide as possible in the beginning helps more than it hinders. It does hinder in a way because you may mess up and it doesn't travel far enough because you try to keep it wide. Yeah. That's why subtle differences make all the difference. You just got to learn to judge those subtle differences. Should I keep it wide or not? Let me think about that. That's a conscious choice. You have to make that consciously. Subconsciously, your subconscious may just say, I don't want to nap tonight. Let's still go do something else. Let's look at some fights online. Yeah, I'd like to go see the fights. Or let's listen to some music. Forget about this napping stuff. That's the subconscious. But you gotta go, no, a little bit later. If you do good tonight at the napping, then I'll let you watch the fights or I'll let you listen to the music. Yeah. If you do well in the napping, you gotta treat it like a little kid. See if it did it. It doesn't want to do it. Can I put this back on there and hit it again? No, it looks like it wants to dive in, so I don't want to hit it again. Yeah, that's one of the exceptions. If it looks like it's going to dive in there, which I think it looks like it's going to do, I'm not going to hit it again. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. This time I don't think it will. All right, let's see. Let's put this finger up here so little baby's head doesn't pop off. Did it do it? Yeah. I think it tried to do it, and it did okay. I'm going to try one more flake from the base. We're going to support the tip just in case. Why don't we always support the tip? Because believe it or not, sometimes supporting the tip will snap it off. Whereas if you didn't have your finger there, nothing would have happened. That has happened to me before. I have snapped the tip off because my finger had too much pressure on the tip. Okay? You'll see. That's why you can't teach these things. Yeah, it only comes from experience. And I can't tell you how much pressure is required to snap the tip off when you support it. Yeah, I want to know the poundage. Is that like 6 ounces or 8.7 ounces? Or what kind of ounces we talking about up here? You can't teach it. I'm afraid I have no idea. How much finger pressure here? I don't know. I think my subconscious likes to measure things in, what is it? Kilograms? How many kilograms of pressure is there? My subconscious is fancy like that. So it confuses me. Yeah. It's like 0.09 kilos right there on that finger pressure. Yeah. See, what do we got in the chat? What did I miss? I probably missed a ton of stuff. If I missed your question, I apologize. I'll go back and look. Let's see. JJ is here. Who's JJ? Yaj J. Hello, hello. Hey, Right-Eyed Patriots here. Have you put anybody in timeout yet? Just put someone in timeout at random so we can see. I want to see some timeouts. Yeah. Put somebody in timeout so they don't go watch the fights instead of watching this. Yeah. I want to see some conflict in the comment section. Okay, so it's starting to get crunchy. It's starting to rear its crunchy head. I mean, ugly head. Dang. All right, let's see. Yeah, that was a sigh. That was a disgust. That was an exhalation of disgust. Look at that. It didn't do it. They had plenty of convexity too. It's gonna get crunchy. All right, I see how it's gonna go. I see what you're gonna do. And they stick. Look at that. That is stuck. There's no way to continue that. That is stuck. It just snapped right off right there. Instead of doing its job, it just kind of slacked off and didn't finish the job. No, it's not the stone. Come on, it's you. You're not doing it right. If you just do it right and shut up, it gets done. What's the problem? I wish. If it was that simple, it would make my life a lot easier. Yeah. So much easier. Then I would just take a couple years off and figure out how to do it right. Or however long it takes to figure out how to do it right. And then from then on, nothing bad will happen. Because then I'll know how to do it right. Yeah, I'm not against taking time off to learn something if it's going to be that important. And just focus on that. Chase the elusive doing it right. Go climb a mountain with the guru on top of the mountain and go ask the guru. Oh, guru, how do you do it right? What is the secret of doing it right? And he would say something like, you had it inside you all the time, my son. What? Yeah, you know how to do it. You just don't do it because you're stupid. Will I ever know how to do it right? Because apparently I'm not smart enough. No, my son, you'll never know how to do it right because you're not smart enough. Go back down the mountain. Dang. That's it. I have been enlightened. I can't do it. I gotta go back to baking banana bread. This hobby is dumb anyway. But yeah, to be fair, baking banana bread is not a bad hobby. I recommend it. Yes, I do. Even though I don't eat bread anymore, if there's going to be bread to be eaten, it might as well be banana bread. Yeah, might as well be. Man, I used to scarf that stuff down. I hate to admit it, but yeah. My mother-in-law used to make the banana bread for us. Or who's making it? Somebody was making it. I scarfed that stuff down and they said, hey, what happened to the banana bread? I don't know. So yeah, it's a good hobby. Banana bread is awesome, said Prairie Ghost Ken. He knows. You always know when someone knows. Yes, he knows. Yep. All right. It's getting crunchy in the middle. Yes. So what do? The hardest part of Flintknapping is presenting its ugly face. So what do? It's starting to get crunchy. So do we stop thinning? I think that would be the solution so it doesn't get any worse. But what we're going to do is something different. We're going to be attacking it more aggressively instead of just, trying to tiptoe through the tulips. Tiptoeing through the tulips is not getting us anywhere. Hey, Chris Lithic, 199 super chat. Pat, you wizard. Look what you did behind my back. I thought you were watching the whole time. Or you took a break? Oh, you took a banana bread break. I know what you did. Yep. You went and snuck it in the refrigerator. Because they were going to try to save it for the party. But you saw it in there. Yeah. And you're saying to yourself, who was the not so smart person to put the banana bread in front of everybody in the refrigerator? Inside that non-see-through plastic container. It's so obvious it's inside that non-see-through plastic container. Why would someone be so stupid to put it in the obvious spot where everyone can see? It's not my fault that I saw it. I wasn't being sneaky. No. I wasn't checking every container in the fridge. Nope. Let's see. Somebody said they were locked in on the chat. Chris, you said you were locked in on the chat for a little while there, and I went off on a tangent. Maybe. We're going to attack this aggressively in case you missed it. That's the next goal here. And if it breaks in half, it's not my fault. Because it wants me to be a little more aggressive because it's not cooperating. You know, tiptoeing through the tulips is not getting us there. Sometimes it'll get us there if you just tiptoe. But this is not doing it. It's starting to get all crackly instead of, you know, just nice flakes. Be calm, collective. I'm trying to not smash my way into there. And no, it doesn't do it. So we're going to have to, you know, step on the gas a little bit. Yeah, take some risks. Knock over some cones in the obstacle course. Yeah, and drive our passengers insane. We got some passengers. How many passengers? We got 123 passengers. Yes, okay, good. For a second there, I thought I was not going to go anywhere. We're putting a little extra effort into these flakes because that's what it looks like it might need. Yes, see that? We can force the issue, but it's risky. That's how we roll. Yep. But there's only room for one more aggressive pass. That's the trick. There's only one pass left of these aggressive flakes, and that's it. This is it. Let's see. All right. Oh man, no overshot technology. Dang it. It didn't do it. Yeah. It looks horrible, doesn't it? It didn't overshoot. Man. Now it's messed up. Okay, where are we going to go next? We're going to go crazy. You want to go? Yeah, we're already there. What you talking about, Willis? I don't know which side is okay. This side is not as bad as the other side. Oh, come on. Yes. All right. It wants to dive in. See that? But I can live with that. Yes. I think I can get that from the other side. It didn't dive in all the way, but it got the flatness that I wanted. We just got to make sure that we don't forget that spot. Well, I can try right now, right? Yeah, let's try right now and see if I can reach it. There it is. So I reached it from that side. I can live with that. It tried to dive in, right? But it's not pronounced. It's not a major defect, so I can live with that. Yeah. Yes? Yeah. It's not too bad. I'm going to have to live with these step fractures. Let me see if I can pick that out. Yeah, I'm going to have to live with some of those. Because there's no way to take that out. Because it's so thin. Yeah. So I have to live with some of those. Okay? Just so you know, I'm not going to take that out. And there may be a big sigh of disgust. But it don't matter. It don't matter. I understand the risks involved. Yeah. See what it did. See what it did. Aggressive strike. It looks better than it did before. Yeah, it's starting to look better. But remember, I'm right on the edge of snapping it in half. So if it snaps in half, don't be surprised. You should be surprised it has not snapped in half yet. That's the surprise. Yeah. You should be going, man, it hasn't broken in half yet? What's going on? This is not meeting my expectations. This stuff is very snappish and it hasn't snapped in half yet. This is what's going on. That's what the surprise should be. Look how thin that sucker's getting. And I'm still hitting it with aggressiveness. Oh yes, we're not done with the aggressive strikes. Because I don't want it to look all flakery and crackly. I want it to have bold flakes. Yeah, like that. Okay, so we're done on that side. Pretty much. Except for that one. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Okay, there. No, one more? I'm pushing my luck. Yeah, I forgot about that one too. Okay, there. Now, we got this weirdness right in there. See that island developing? We got to attack it. There's only one way to attack the island. We can't attack it from anywhere else except right through there. So we've got to make sure that we focus on making that approach as accessible as possible. We have to clear the minefields. Make sure our line of sight is established. You might have a plan A or a plan B. But it looks like we just have a plan A and that's it. The line of sight has been established. But there's only... Well, we could possibly have a plan B. If we make it more narrow. Let's do that. It's best to have two avenues of approach to reach the objective. Okay, oops. Gotta be gentle with it. See, this is plan A here, right through there. Plan B is through here. There's two avenues of approach here. This one's not that great because it's crackly. There's some mines. There's minefields with mines there. This one looks pretty clear. I don't see any major obstacles except a slight dip right there. So if I take a little flake, I might make it more convex. Just take a little flake and make it a little more convexity. Convexitatious. Let's see. We don't want a slight dip. Now, why don't I do this with every single flake that I attempt? Because it would take all day. If you want, I can spend 1 month doing 1 point. If that's what you want. You want me to slow down that much? Every live stream can be just working on the same point. If you want. I can do that for maybe not a month. Let's say I could do that for 2 weeks. I work on the same point and be very careful with each and every flake. And I could take up to 2 weeks to do that 1 point. Yeah. Have I done it before? Well, not to that extreme, but I'm imagining that that's what it would take. If I were to plan it, everything like I'm doing right now, on every flake. Because I'm contouring the edge, and then I'm looking, and I'm recontouring, and then I'm looking. I have to recontour the edge 3 times. Check, double check, triple check. That's the best way to do it. Double check, triple check, sometimes quadruple check, you don't want to be doing that with every single flake because it takes forever. Now some guys can speed it up, and they do it super fast, and it makes me sound like I'm not knowing what I'm talking about, because other guys can do that super fast. They can adjust, readjust, and then adjust again, and then take the flake and be really fast about it. But I haven't spent the time to develop that sort of habit, because I think it's a waste of time and energy. Yeah. Because it gets frustrating. You can mess up on your setups. Then you got to fix your setups, and you might mess it up the setup again, and you got to fix it again. And then when you hit it, it might not work. You might blow all the pieces, and you go, wait a second, I just took off a bunch of edge, and now I got to take off a bunch of edge again, and then check it, and double check and triple check, and do the same thing over and over again. If I mess up my first attempt. Yeah. It just adds to the hassle, which is not something good in Flintknapping. Alright, so here we go. It's like putting chalk on the cue stick or the pool stick. Okay, when you got exposed fresh metal, it's like the opposite, I guess, of putting chalk on a pool stick. But it's the same principle. You've got to get it nice and smooth, so it makes good contact. And then you hit it with all your might. Make sure that the strike was good. Yeah, it was a good strike. It just didn't go far enough. It took off what I wanted, but the termination was pretty bad. Can I live with it? No, I can't live with that one. I'm going to have to take another flake. But at least plan A worked. I don't have to go with plan B. I can do a short flake with plan B and try to get rid of those little step fractures. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, and we bumped up against the obstacle again. That flake went further than I thought it was going to go, but it's okay. In that case, it's fine. Yeah. Pushing my luck. It's starting to get too thin in the middle. But, oh well. We're almost there. We're almost there. I just got to clear that out. And I got to get rid of some of this lumpiness on the bottom here. And then we're done thinning. Oh, what did I do? I dropped it. Let me see how many people are going to faint. Fantastic platform setup, but dropping it broke it. That's how delicate it is. It just landed on flakes. It didn't land on anything. It landed right here on flakes and snapped. Yeah. It hit something though. It hit something right there, right? Yeah. Because I was trying for something down here. Oh yeah, I was just flipping it around and I dropped it. So yeah, very, very easy to snap. Okay. Yeah. So, snap number 2. But it hit something hard. What did it hit? Maybe it hit the bopper. Maybe it hit this. Could it? I don't know. It didn't. It wasn't anywhere near that. It might have hit the bopper. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. On its way down, it might have hit that bopper. Dang it. But usually when I drop it, it's only like a foot. I'm napping maybe at the most 16 inches from the floor. Let's see. See, when I dropped it, maybe right there, 14 inches from the floor. That's very low. That's barely any distance. That's another reason why I nap close to the floor, because if I drop it, it doesn't travel very far. So you can see how delicate it is dropping it just at 14 inches. Yeah, but it looks like it did hit the bopper. See that? Oh well. Okay. But it goes into brooks and bifaces. So you guys can experience some really, really delicate material. Let me check the chat. Drop it again, says Andrew. Hey, do it again. Again. Yeah. Hey, I can do that. Yeah. I could easily just drop it. Or I could fling it. How about if I fling it? I should have a special slingshot for the drops. But yeah, I haven't broken one by dropping it in I don't know how long. It's been a long time since I've broken one while dropping it. That's how delicate that stuff is. All right, let's see. Let me see. Perry Goes Ken says, it makes me feel a little better after I broke so many points in the last few months. I think some obsidian is defective, like a plate glass with hairline fracture. Yeah, some natural obsidian does have weaknesses in it. So don't be feeling too bad. What's today? Is today Tuesday? It's a challenge night anyway. I'm supposed to be napping challenging material. So, success. My Flintknapping journey says I need another beer now. Oh, yes. Look at all those emojis. Chris Lithic says I hit my head on the ceiling. Are you on the top bunk? Are you sleeping in the top bunk on the bunk bed or something? Tommy Anderson, damn it. Attorney Bailey, damn. Let's see. Ed Gould says, damn. Chris Lithic says, no. Ralph Snyder, fantastic platform setup. Yep, and then it fell. Doesn't do any good, huh? When it falls. Let's see. We're going to continue, though. No questions? Fish point obsidian, bird point obsidian. No, I'm not going to continue with that. I'm putting those two pieces in the brokes and bifaces. Well, I'll let you guys finish it. Oh, I could powderize it. Oh, I haven't made a powdered point in a long time. Joe says, hey, I'm new. What's going on? You missed dropping a very thin preform from stuff that wasn't supposed to be that thin to begin with. But yeah, I dropped it down. This is like 14 inches from where I'm working on, from right here where I'm working on points, down to the floor is about 14 inches. I dropped it this far, which is not far, onto a towel and with leather underneath and loose flakes. We should be safe, but I think what it did is it hit the bopper by accident. Yeah. If it was a piece of chert, it would have just chipped the edge a little bit and it wouldn't have snapped in half. If it was chert of that thinness, it would have chipped the edge, yes, but it wouldn't have snapped in half. All right. Slingshot them at the live audience. Some of us will be here in cotton armor with nets and goggles. You can still make a tool. Oh, yeah. But dang, I mean, I got tools in here. The flakes are tools. So it's just something that happens. Have you made a throwing knife yet? Well, what happens to throwing knives made of stone? Just take a guess. A wild guess. And what happens to throwing knives made of obsidian? Now, if you're asking if I made a throwing knife out of steel from scratch, no. But I've thrown knives, steel knives at targets. You can buy them. You don't have to make them. But making them out of stone and obsidian, what do you think is going to happen? Just take a wild guess. How many times do you think you can throw that knife? Just take a little guess. I'll give you some time. Let's see here. I'm going to go back in the chat, see if there's anything else. You got something to half the way it is now? You haven't seen how I halved the big blades? Have you been watching the live streams? I got knife handles. Okay? Yeah. Or you wanted to see exactly. I got knife handles. That's how I would halve it. There's a big one in here that I can use for bigger blades. Let's see. We can use our imaginations. Pretend this is still one piece. Half it in a handle like this. Lots of glue. Don't need no wrapping. You can wrap it, but I would just put lots of glue and a little bit of wrap, maybe, just to keep the glue in place so the glue doesn't escape. But yeah. Yeah, it's a big, that's how I would have the big blade. And it's even got some room in there. Okay? It is a good question, how would I halve it? But I think I've shown this before on other videos. That's how I would do it. And if you want to put notches, you can put notches. Would that be a kamikaze knife? No. Because you know what happens if you stab someone with it? Oh, dang it, I stabbed you, but it wasn't that good stab because it broke. Now what do? Do I just poke you in the eyeball? I could stab you with that. Yeah. No, you don't want to fight with these kind of things. A thin blade is for ceremony. And yeah, I know it's a meme where, yeah, if you don't know what it is for, it's always for ceremony and blah, blah, blah. No, but it's true. Thin stuff like this, if it has no use in hunting or warfare, it is a ceremonial blade. Okay? And sometimes they break these on purpose and give them as offerings at a funeral. And they're called killed blades. Sometimes they actually break these on purpose and put them in as a gift in a funeral. Okay? Okay. I don't know if that answered the question or not, but hopefully, if I wasn't being too much of a smart aleck. This handle is too small. Okay? All right. And you can just brush up against a bush or a tree, bing, and then this will snap. Yeah. If you take this out in the field and you think you're going to be doing all kinds of stuff with it, it's going to be your multi-tool. You're going to have it in existence for like at least a year. You got to come back down to earth, buddy. Those kinds of knives that are thin like that are not for everyday use. Alright, so this is the one I wanted to nap anyway. So, let's nap it. We still got, what is it, 40 minutes? We still got 40 minutes. I'm not even going to clean up. Not even going to clean up. Let's go right into it. Dangman says, what's a PowerPoint you guys were talking about earlier? I don't know. Attorney Bailey says, Jack being a smart alexic, that smart mind is wonderful insight. Cool. These days I live a good ribbing. I like a good ribbing from Pat. Not that I require his attention, but that I tweak that part of him. It turns and says, "Oh yeah, how about that?" Ralph Snyder says, "How about that?" I think it's quite funny, says Attorney Bailey. One time I said it looked like fun, Pat, and roasted me for like a week about it. Yeah. You think this is fun? I wouldn't take it personally, Bailey. He has a certain mindset. Okay, what went on? Oh, I see what this is. It's supposed to say kamikaze knife. Now I get it. This is supposed to be a kamikaze. That's not how you spell kamikaze, but you know. I understand what you did there now. Whoever, I forget who originally posted that. It would have been beautiful. Yeah, it would have been. Attorney Bailey says, "Damn, Jack, you're making me feel like I asked a dumb question." I don't know. Do I have that much power to make you feel like that? Oops, come on. My indirect has been thrown into a maple log before, pretty deep too. My indirect has been thrown into a maple log? Sometimes I don't understand what you're talking about, Mike. It would work good the first time, haha. Yeah, maybe. I mean, all your opponent has to do is take his little finger and go on your blade, like this, and it breaks their blade. Yeah, what, you know what I mean? You're whipping the blade around, he just goes, pink, and the blade will break. Yeah, you could be defeated with a stick if you have a blade that breaks easy. Joe says, "Oh, dang, that's sad. That's a lot of hard work just gone." Yeah, we chalk it up to experience, though. Okay. Yeah, it's not gone if we learn from it. It's still within our memory, and we can offer it a nice little funeral if we want, to remember, in remembrance of the blade that should not have been. And I was just talking about that too. It's surprising that it hasn't broken yet. And within 1 minute of that, I think, it did break. But not from the napping. It was because I dropped it. Yeah, it slipped. This is slippery. Yeah, I have an excuse. Obsidian is very slippery. Now we're going to be hitting this hard to zigzag it. And hopefully the tip doesn't break off. You know, the tip can come flying off. I think I might actually prefer to nap silver sheen instead of this stuff. This stuff is so brittle. But yeah, this is very similar to how gold sheen naps. Except gold sheen feels a little bit more like hard candy. It's a little bit softer. It's not as hard. There is a hardness to this. It chews on the tools. Whereas the gold sheen wasn't chewing on my tools as much. And I'll be using only indirect on this stuff. Or the horizontal punch behind the knee technique. Because if I just say indirect, there's different types of indirect percussion. Behind the knee is just my style. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, we have achieved the type of flaking we want. Okay, all right. Yeah, I don't need to grind it anymore. We are achieving. All right. Scary. I might be getting used to the material. But you never know. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything. Yep, I already did it. I already did it. I already spoke too soon. Yep. I'm still not used to it. That's my excuse. Dawkinstein knows my excuse really well. The one where I say I'm not used to it yet. If it's brittle, you can leave that piece thicker in the middle than usual. Yeah. I can leave it this thick and then call it good. Yeah. We shall see. If it's going to be thick in the middle, I have to plan on it being thick in the middle. I just can't say, okay, well, we'll see what happens. No, I have to plan on it being thick. So, if we want it thick in the middle, we got to decide now. Because it's a whole different ball game. Leaving it thick is a different ball game than thinning it down. It's a different mindset. Okay? Alright. Just so you know. I can leave it really thick. It doesn't help on the snap and halfishness all that much. Believe it or not. Because you can see I left it really thick on this piece and it didn't help. What else is there that can help not snapping it in half? Just snap something else. Yeah, say, oh, no. This is not good. We're going to put it down. We're going to go somewhere else. We're going to get something else. This is not good. That's how you avoid the snapping in half. You just don't nap it. That's it. But since we are going to nap it, leaving it in the middle is our only option, but the option's still not that great. It's not as great as it is with other materials. Other materials, you can leave it thicker and you can increase your odds of success a lot. But this one doesn't allow you to increase your odds of success all that much. It doesn't respond like other materials. Okay, I'm not going to be able to leave it wide. I don't even know why I'm trying to leave this wide. Yeah, we're gonna take it down from the beginning, and then we're gonna leave it thick. Yep. Even though it doesn't increase our odds all that much. I'm pretty sure I could have finished the other one out if I hadn't have dropped it. Because there was only a couple flakes left that I wanted to take. Yeah. Yeah, like that. Oh, that's so weird. See that? The frontal attack on that step fracture, but it jumped over the top of the step fracture and kept going. See how weird that is? Instead of digging in under that, it jumped over the top of that step fracture and kept going. That's unusual. Okay. I see how it's going to go. See, if you remember, there was a ridge here, and I had shot a flake, but it abruptly stopped. It didn't keep following that ridge. So I blasted through there with a flake that I thought was going to dig in. But no, it saw that little step fracture on that ridge, and it said, whoops, there we go. It jumped it. Very weird. That did what it's supposed to do. Yeah, like that. Look at that. Look at that. Save that. See if we can look at the sun with those. It might need a thicker flake. I might need a thicker flake to look at the sun. Okay, anytime now. Thank you. I still don't know why I'm keeping it wide. I think I just want to get that surface nice and convex. Wait a second. Maybe this is the ridge. Did I confuse? I confused this side with this side. See, I think okay. Yeah, I confused it. So what did it do on that side? It had jumped something. It had jumped a step fracture. I thought I was doing this side. Or maybe this is I don't know. Maybe it's just something that looks the same as it did before. I'm going to stop trying to analyze this. It's not supposed to do that. Look at that. It's being a little brat. See, that flake was supposed to fan out in that direction, but it didn't do it. It tried to do it. See, it was going right for that. See that? It was fanning out right for that, but then it went around it, or I don't know what it did. What did it do? Maybe I can't see exactly what's going on. Maybe I'm not understanding what's going on there. Usually I can eliminate it just by brute force, but... Okay, there it goes. See, I knew it would do it eventually. I hit it right here, and with brute force I knocked it off, but dang, it's just acting funny. See, if I want to make it thick, I can keep it wide. So that's an option, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it. No. What in the heck? Something. Maybe it's the abrader. It's causing incipient cracks. That was a lot of energy that went absolutely nowhere. Oh no, it did go somewhere. It just acted stupid, that's all. I really don't know what to do in those cases. Just when you think you know the material a little bit better, it does that. This flaker is going down and coming back up and hitting it. If you're hearing a double tap, that's what it is. Why it's doing that, I'm not sure. If I knew, I wouldn't be doing it. Oh, it's doing the same thing again. Come on. I know you're in there. Okay. There it is. See, it's doing the same thing again. It's doing that weird thing. Where this is even worse than before. I think this side might be stressed. There's something up when Obsidian does that with an abrupt stop. Same thing on this one. It's something having to do with, I think it's something having to do with the material itself. Okay, well, I can force the issue, so at least there's some hope. But it's going to stay there, I bet you. Especially if I leave it thick, you know, I can't be going after these defects because it'll thin it down too much. In the act of repairing the defects, it thins it down. So we don't want that. Yeah, I can force the issue, but it's strikes like that that break it in half. That's the only problem. And sometimes they don't do anything. Okay. All right. I see what you're doing. I'm just gonna have to zone out. Try to get in the zone. Yeah. Okay, now I can talk. Everything's clear out of the way. All that's left is persnickety stuff around the edges. I'll live with that surface. Let's measure it. Yeah. There's just little persnickety stuff I'm going to do off camera. Yeah, I'm not going to do that persnickety stuff. I'm going to spend probably another 45 minutes on this, just cleaning up the edges. I just wanted to get it thinned down, and that thinning, I had to zone out because this is particularly resistant. Yeah, this was a little brat. Sometimes the flakes go flat, sometimes they dive, sometimes they scoop. There's just no real predictability to it other than aggressive strikes with the possibility of removing too much. If I just pick at it little by little with these thinning flakes, they do not cooperate. So I've just got to blast through with as big flakes as possible and clean up, do damage control after the big flakes. That seems like the only way to do it that satisfies me. I like to have a smooth, bold flake surface. And there's some crunchiness there, but I'm not going to deal with it because that's the kind of crunchiness that can break the point if I try to thin it any more than that. So I know my limits on this side. There's some diving going on here, but I'll just live with that. As long as it's symmetrical from the side, nicely tapered, thinnest in the middle. I mean, thickest in the middle. Yeah, that was starting to get on my nerves, but it's just the nature of this particular type of material. Yeah, if it was gold sheen, I could make a little bit nicer flake pattern because gold sheen is slightly more cooperative than this snap and half-ish stuff. I remember the gold sheen being similar to this, but this just it misbehaves. It just doesn't want to behave, and it was. I usually do zone out toward the end, but I felt myself having to focus a lot more on this one than usual and make some actual conscious decisions to not do certain things, even though they still bug me. Don't do that. Don't do this. Do not do that. Go after only the stuff that has the least odds of breaking. And then if you see a good opportunity for a big flake, just go for it and hope. Yeah, hit and hope on the bigger ones. Yeah, I don't know if that made any sense. I let my subconscious do a lot of it. I'm trying to understand what my subconscious is going through, and it's not that easy to figure out. It's not that easy to figure out. It knows from experience what I can do with the big flakes, because that's my habit. I have a habit of taking these big old flakes. So it kind of has a feel for what to do. But as far as conscious decisions, I got to back off. Don't do this, don't do that. Although my subconscious feels like it should have been done. A couple more big flakes here and there would have been great, but no, don't do it. No, it can be done, but I'm not going to risk it. Yeah, I can thin it a little bit more, but I'm not going to risk it. Okay. So that's it, yeah. How do you know when to quit? When the odds start to stack up against you and you can feel the tension. That's when you quit. And if you don't understand those kind of feelings, you won't be able to quit. No. You'll just keep going and going and going and then snap it. Let's see. Where is the other phone? Okay. What did I miss? Does it misbehave badly like that goldstone? Oh, yes. Goldstone is even worse. I think goldstone, that glittery stuff, is more snap and half-ish than this stuff. So it's almost hopeless. I think goldstone is the most snap and half-ish stuff I've ever napped. So I only use goldstone for small pieces, pendants and stuff. Nothing major. Maybe it's different with indirect since you're working with a smaller diameter tool. I have no idea. I really don't. It's just I have the most experience. I'm just using the tool that I have the most experience with. In my view, it depends on experience. When I choose to do something, it's usually I go with what I have the most experience with, and it's with that particular tool, that 3/8 copper rod in the horizontal punch with that plastic mallet, with the abraders that I like and the diamond file that I like, and that's it. I have the most experience with that particular tool set, and that's what I'm going with when I need something in a pinch. When it's starting to get like do or die, I have to go with what I have the most experience with. I'm not even paying attention to the properties of the tool tip or how it flakes or what platforms I need or not need or whatever. It's just whatever I have the most experience with. That's it. Okay. Read my previous message, Patrick. Okay, let's see. I also think maybe you don't space your flakes enough. Patrick, Obsidian really likes to spread. Leaving a bit larger delta can also help you thin stuff from... No, that doesn't help. Spacing or not spacing is not the key. The key is the surface. The key to all this is obviously the tools I prefer because I have the most experience with them, and the surface contours of the piece. Wherever the surface contours are the best, that's where I take the flakes. I don't space my flakes consciously. I look for where the surface is best. Sometimes they're spaced evenly, sometimes they're not. Most of the time my flakes are not spaced evenly because I'm going after what is best on the surface. That's what I look for. If I try to space them out evenly, some surfaces will be ideal, some will not, some I have to modify. If I have to do an even spacing or an increase in spacing, I have to look to see if that particular place that I'm going to put the flake is conducive to a flake. Sometimes it isn't. I've tried that before and it doesn't make sense to me. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying that's just the way my process is done. What did it measure? I haven't measured it yet. I'm trying to answer questions. Let's see. Let's see. I bet there is stress in there. Looks like it had a ripply surface on some flakes. Yeah, there was some areas here. Like, there's still some remnant of something because I had some really bad step fractures that were totally unexpected. I mean, I spent a long time getting the feel for not doing step fractures, and when they blatantly happen, like, I mean, some really bad ones, that means I have no experience with that particular type of situation. It has to be the material, because I've napped a lot of this kind of stuff without having those really seriously bad step fractures. So there's something in the material. I don't know if it's because of the snap and halfishness or existing stresses. The not knowing is what's bad. I wish I knew, because then it would be easier to improve the napping. Yeah. I mean, we can bet, like you said, I bet there is stress. Yeah. Pretty good chance. Yes, there is pretty good chance there are stresses involved. This will be available in the auction. I will measure it just here in a second. And I'm going to trim the edges off camera. Yeah, because that's just persnickety stuff that drives me nuts, and I like to take breaks. Okay. The previous flake without mucking up the overall convexity and cause. Okay, what is this? Jim Cooper says, by spacing, I mean not striking too close to the previous flake. For the contour you have at that part of the striking surface, if you have a thicker spot, you can get away with hitting a bit closer to the previous flake without mucking up the overall convexity and causing the flake to peel off more smoothly. Yeah, now you're talking about going with the flow, yeah. By spacing, I mean not striking too close. Well, I look for those contours. Are you saying that I struck where I shouldn't have struck because the contour wasn't convex? I can get away with thicker spots. If you're striking the surface, if you have a thicker spot, you can get away with hitting a bit closer. Yeah, I agree with that. Without mucking over convexity and causing the flake to peel off more. Causing the flake to peel off more smoothly has to do with your follow-through. The convexity allows you to use a lot of force. I don't know if that makes sense. I like big, bold flakes. I have to have the right convexity for the amount of force I use. And it depends on the material. This one I could do relatively flat flakes with a lot of force, like most obsidians. If there's a fat spot on the edge anywhere, I usually trim it off. I like the edges to be consistent within reason. I mean, I don't spend a lot of time. I really don't think about spacing in that way. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, Jim. I don't think about spacing in the same way you think about spacing. I'm opportunistic. And sometimes I take risks that I shouldn't. I mean, you might have been spotting some of those risks. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, Ralph Snyder. A lot of ancient points had random flaking patterns just like Patrick's points. How do I know? Yeah. It's not necessarily how evenly they are spaced. Okay. Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to understand what you're, Jim, I'm trying to understand what you're saying that's different from what I'm doing. What's different from what I'm doing is even spacing. Even spacing is different from what I'm doing. If it's not even spacing, that's what I'm doing. I'm not even spacing it. And I'm going by the surface contours rather than thinking about spacing. Okay, so it's incidental when I'm thinking about, or when there's results on spacing. It's incidental. I don't think about spacing. I think about contours. If I were to space these flakes more farther apart, it's something that doesn't enter into my thinking because I'm focusing on the contours. You know what I'm saying? So if it looks like I'm spacing them further apart, it's incidental. Or if it looks like I'm spacing them on purpose closer together, it's incidental. Spacing them evenly is different from what I do. So I thought that's what you were talking about. I thought you were talking about something that's different from what I do. Does that make sense? Let's see. Vortex tube. Any of you guys know about Griffith's energy balance and the physical properties of these things? I'm getting into it and it makes sense. Griffith's energy balance. Nope, haven't heard of that one. You cannot heat treat obsidian. That's true. I think they did what was easy for them. Yeah. Ralph Snyder. A lot of ancient points had random flaking. Okay, I read that one. Let's see. Vortex tube. I'm thinking there are reflections around flaws. Reflections around flaws? I don't know. Explore Florida. Pat, is this a craft of skill or luck? It's a sport. It's not a craft. It's a sport. So whatever is involved in sports, that's what's involved in napping. Yeah, it's a sport. So if there's lots of skill involved in sports, yeah, same as napping. If there's luck involved in sports, yeah, the same in napping. Whatever applies to sports as far as luck and skill applies to napping. So I guess the answer to the question is yes. Okay, good question. Skill issue, says Husef. Skill issue. What did it measure? I haven't measured it yet. Looking for questions. Hey, okay. 1999 super chat. Thank you. Jorge gave me a $20 super chat. Exceptional work, Patrick. Simply masterful performance. Thank you. Thank you. Don't compliment me too much. I was having a struggle with that one. Where is the Obsidian from? I don't know. Danny Collins got this. I think he did get it from Glass Buttes, Oregon. When he went up there to Glass Buttes, Oregon. There's a huge chunk. It started out as a huge chunk. All right, let's see what it measures. I see there might be some more questions, but let me see. Let's see. Almost 8 3/8. It's going to go down about an eighth when I sharpen it, so it'll be 8 1/4 probably when I finish. I won't do too much to the base. So yeah, I think it was 9 before. When I measured it yesterday, it was 9 inches, so I lost almost 3/4 of an inch. All right, I think it was 9 inches yesterday, or when I measured it last night. And then the width of it, the widest part, 80 millimeters. And right there at the widest part, we have, I'm hoping it's 10, that make it easy. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, I think it's 10 millimeters, so it's 8 to 1. Yeah. 80 by 10. Right in the thickest part by the widest part, it's 8 to 1. Yeah. It doesn't want to focus as soon as I try to measure it. Yeah, it's 8 to 1. Okay. So yeah, a little bit beyond what I should have done. But zoning out helps. It allows me to focus better, so I don't have to think about both explaining and doing it. And distracting myself by talking doesn't actually help if I really want to zone in exactly where I want to. Yeah, I can distract myself if it's a little bit easier and just talk and nap and do the same thing, do both at the same time. But in this case, when it gets very difficult, I can't do two things at once. Okay. What else we got? Ralph Snyder, $450. Let's see. Explorer says, you can have all the skill in the world and still get lucky any given Sunday. Oh, yes. Attorney Bailey says, discipline, practice, focus, same as sports, huh? Interesting. Yeah, it's a sport. Eric Kitty accidentally scrolled to the next stream. I do that constantly. Yeah. Explorer says, I stayed because Pat started talking. Ralph Snyder, conchoidal fractures are two 45-degree angles combined? Yeah, whatever makes you successfully flake. If you want to believe that, yep. Any skill's a skill, yeah. Dive into the previous flake scar, I mean. Jim says, dive into the previous flake scar. I guess that's a bad thing. I will dive into a previous flake scar if the contour is correct. If it's not correct, I try not to dive into the previous flake scar. By taking flakes too close together, it can cause issues because the edge of the flake likes to dive. Edge of the flake likes to dive and makes problems by spacing the flakes. You are maintaining the overall convexity by not allowing diving into the previous flake scar. Yeah, okay, so, but again, it depends on the contour. I'm trying to think. If I'm looking at the previous flake scar and I'm thinking that I could be diving into it by accident, by putting the next flake too close to the previous flake, I can see the potential of going into the next flake scar. I can see it in my assessment of the contours. If the previous flake scar has a contour that allows me to be close to it, I will take it because of the contour. So what that means is, yeah, I understand that the sides of the flakes where they fan out can dive in to either side. So I'm aware of that, right? If I put the flakes really close together, it's because I see a good contour. Yeah, sometimes the flake will still dive in where it's not supposed to. But that's because the flake might have been just acting weird, because it's supposed to follow the contour. It's supposed to follow the convexity. Sometimes flakes don't follow the convexity. Either I hit it in the wrong way, or the material is just hard in one direction, but it's the easiest way out is to go in the wrong direction because of inconsistencies. Putting flakes close together doesn't necessarily make it bad as far as diving into the next flake scar. As long as you follow the proper contour, you can put flakes close together. If you space them out, you can reduce the chances of diving. Yeah, but then you might also not be hitting a proper contour because you're worried about being too close to the other flake. You might say, well, the contour looks good, but I'm too close to the other flake, so I should space it out because there's a chance of diving into the next flake scar. That's a consideration I normally don't wrestle with. Does that make sense? I don't know. If you are the one who thinks, who's the one listening? Let's not get into that because I have my ideas on how the brain works. Yeah, I could get talking about that. R. Snyder, are you starting the bid at 450? Yeah, that's my question too. What is this 450? Great piece. Thank you, says Tony. Yeah, Griffith's energy balance. I need to look that up. Let's see. Jim Cooper says, my statement assumes you are taking the contours into account. I guess I need to figure out how to explain what I mean more clearly. Just video what I mean. Yeah, do video so we can see. Western Ninja, how's it going, Patrick? We met at the Taos Knapping. I'd like to see you work some of the San Antonio Mountain material sometime. Okay, yeah. Western Ninja. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I've got some of it. Where do I have it? Yeah, it's not easy to work. For those of you who don't know, that San Antonio Mountain material is a black type of real dacite. Yeah, it's real dacite. It's a grainy type of stuff that looks a lot like fine-grained basalt. It's solid black. Very difficult to knap because once you start getting it thin, it doesn't want to cooperate. You know, worse than normal. You got to hit mostly with downward pressure to get any result. If you start hitting any kind of inward pressure, it step fractures. But it kind of fools you because it's easy to flake. Flakes come off pretty easy. It's just thinning it down is the hard part. And I found that hitting it downward, mostly downward, is the way to knap that stuff. Yeah, I'm going to call it a night here. I've been online for 2 hours and 39 minutes. Sounds like a good candidate for wood billet work. What type of wood billet? Oh, the one that requires downward force? Yeah, we could try that, but it's not tough material like rhyolite. Yeah, we can try wood on that stuff. Let's see. Ralph Snyder says, it's not worth it unless you have it. What's not worth it? Are you serious about the opening bid on that? On this piece? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to call it a night here. I don't see any more questions. All right. Paleo Wizard says conchoidal is crap science. Yeah, I know. A lot of this stuff on here is sarcasm and silly humor. Paleo Wizard just joined us at the end of the chat, at the end of the live stream. Let's see. Yeah, did Ralph answer the question? Attorney Bailey says, if not, Ralph, I'll open it at 100. Alrighty. Awesome. Okay, so yeah. But I know that that Attorney Bailey will remind me on the auction, so yeah. But there you go. That'll be like item number 1. I'm going to sharpen that. That's all I'm going to do on it. I'm just going to sharpen it. There's no more thinning involved. Even though it could be thin some more, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to sharpen the edges. That's it. Yeah. And sharpen that up or pressure flake that nice and straight on the bottom. The sides might be slightly wonky, but I think I can straighten the sides. That tip, I might send a couple of thinning flakes in on the tip just to make it more tapered. Yeah, it looks like it could use a little bit better tapering on the tip. So in the process of sharpening, yeah, I can do pressure flakes to remove this mass here. That's all it needs on this side. It just needs a little bit of mass removed right there to make it nicely tapered. Yeah, it's scooped out a little bit too much right here, so I got to take some off of that. But that's it. I'm not going to mess with it too much. The tip is just I am just going to pressure flake the tip, and that's it. With thinning flakes, no more thinning flakes anywhere else. They're just going to sharpen it, straighten it, sharpen. It's already kind of straight, so good. I don't have to mess with the wonkiness. Yeah, okay. And I got to make sure I don't drop this. This will snap. Yeah. Okay, so that goes in the box over here. It goes in my little box with the Band-Aids. That's a nice safe spot, right? Okay, I'm going to call it a night. All right. Ralph Snyder said, just kidding, Patrick, on the bid. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, see you tomorrow night. So I already napped all this stuff, right? I'll probably offer some of these flakes in the auction. I'm going to start offering boxes of flakes. Yeah. I'm going to put some, I got like a half a bucket full of the other waste flakes that were here yesterday. So that's a half a bucket. Yep, it's half a 5-gallon bucket of flakes. So I'll sort through these. I'll pick out the best ones. I'll offer like a box of or two of Obsidian flakes. If there's enough, I might even offer a medium flat rate box of flakes, or start offering medium flat rate boxes when I have extra flakes. There's no way I'm going to nap all this Obsidian. Although it's a nice variety of Obsidian because it has that tint. It's got that smoky tint to it. I'm going to check it out tomorrow. See if we can make some spectacles. Yeah. Yep. Alrighty. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to go straight to sleep. If there's no like little flakes of Obsidian everywhere, I don't think there is. I'm going to skip the shower until tomorrow morning and just go right to sleep. Alrighty? That's it. Okay. See you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.